Let's talk about the very interesting and important theme of human-centric lighting, especially the melanopic spectrum that entrains human circadian rhythm. Our focus will be on how to implement working, practical LED components while maintaining other basic requirements. Here are Samsung's 2 selections of technologies for the best human-centric lighting solution. A double blue peak configuration for LM302N day and a reduced cyan gap for LM302N night. We offer them in the popular 30/30 form factor. We will explore the details of why these are the best, not only from the best circadian entrainment viewpoint, but also from a practical, quality of light perspective. LM302N day is constructed with dual blue dyes, one at the conventional 450 nanometer wavelength and the other at 480 nanometers. Boosting the long wavelength blue peak directly increases the melanopic to photopic ratio of the spectrum by 20 to 30% when compared to conventional white LEDs. LM302N night is constructed with conventional 450 nanometer blue dyes with narrow bandwidth green phosphor. The minimal emission in the long wavelength blue or cyan region reduces the melanopic to photopic ratio of the spectrum by 10 to 20% when compared with conventional white LEDs. However, when it comes to practical lighting installation, having adequate circadian entrainment is not good enough anymore. We should also fulfill the fundamental qualifications of LED lighting: high efficacy, long lifetime, good color quality, and eye safety. There are organizations that create standards and guidelines regarding these aspects of lighting. Let's compare LM302N day with the potential competitors for daylight circadian lighting LEDs. SPDs of 3 different types of LEDs are overlapped together with their photopic sensitivity, melanopic sensitivity, and blue light hazard functions. The first LED, LM302N day, has a double peak in the blue region. Company A uses a near UV dye for pumping phosphors to evenly cover the whole visible spectrum. Company B utilizes a conventional blue dye, but has augmented the cyan range by using an additional short wavelength green phosphor. Starting with the melanopic to photopic ratio, it is clear that the LM302N day performs best thanks to its prominent cyan peak. What about efficacy? Company B underwent a minimal tuning to the conventional high-efficacy white LED spectrum, so it wins in this category. Note that the LM302N day is supposed to exhibit some efficacy penalty due to a high indium concentration from the indium gallium nitride material in the chip. Company A performs worst in efficacy, mainly because of the big difference in the pump wavelength and phosphor emission wavelengths, and also due to its wider spectral distribution outside of the photopic sensitivity curve. In terms of lifetime, the first and third types of LEDs do not have much difference between them. LM302N day offers some advantage from its longer wavelength cyan emission. However, Company A's approach will suffer from faster package material degradation due to high energy photons emitted by its near UV dye. When it comes to CRI, Company A performs the best. The blue light hazard, weighted and integrated by the BLH function, exhibits the highest hazard value with Company A. LM302N day exhibits less BLH compared to even a conventional white LED at the same CCT and CRI. Now let's compare LM302N night with the nighttime LED competitors. LM302N night has a trough in its cyan region due to the use of a narrow bandwidth green phosphor. An additional spectrum can be created by using a near UV pump LED chip alongside a narrow green phosphor. You will notice an inverse melanopic to photopic ratio on top of the spiderweb chart, because we want to minimize the melatonin suppression due to light. Company C has the highest inverse melanopic to photopic ratio, closely followed by LM302N night. However, the gap is narrow. In this case, the question is, how good is good enough? LM302N has slightly lower efficacy than the conventional warm white, because its red spectrum is reinforced as compensation for the loss of CRI from lacking the cyan spectrum. After everything is taken into consideration, we still maintain a CRI of over 80 with an exceptionally good R9 of 70. Company C is inferior in every aspect, except for the inverse melanopic to photopic ratio. Efficacy is way too low, and lifetime is extremely short. CRI doesn't even reach 80, and its color point is way above the ANSI quadrant due to blue and cyan minimization. Because BLH is not as important in the nighttime LED as with daytime spectra, the BLH of these three spectra are all much lower than those of daytime spectra. We performed a series of clinical tests with a university in Korea to investigate the effectiveness of our circadian lighting spectra. We recruited 30 male subjects in their 20s to 50s and had the individuals spend 2 trial periods of 3 days and 2 nights in specially designed rooms. They were exposed to circadian or conventional lighting on their first trial and a week later with the alternate type of lighting in a second trial period in random order. They could read, work, and exercise during their stay, while the researchers measured electroencephalograms, heart rate, body temperature, and salivary melatonin level by the hour. Then they were put through the D2 test, which is a standardized concentration level test. They also solved some Sudoku puzzles to measure their performances. Their melatonin levels at night were analyzed to prove the enhanced relaxing effect. Here are the results of the average melatonin levels under 2 different lighting conditions. As you can see here, the melatonin levels under LM302N daylight were more prominently suppressed than conventional lighting by 18%. At 6 p.m., the lighting was changed from cool white to warm white, and there we compared LM302N night to conventional warm white LEDs. Melatonin levels under LM302N night were delayed by a few hours in relation to the melatonin levels under conventional warm white. But from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m., the melatonin levels under LM302N night were higher. The subjects also took the D2 test, which is a standardized concentration level test. They also solved some Sudoku puzzles. This process was repeated twice in random order after each type of lighting exposure. Additionally, we also measured how the subjects' melatonin levels increased over time by analyzing the DILMO, or dim light melatonin onset. On average, the DILMO under LM302N night was faster by 52 minutes when compared to conventional LED lighting. The melatonin peak position was also about 30 minutes faster. This indicates that although the groups were under the same 2200 Kelvin, 190 lux lighting, subjects who were exposed to LM302N night lighting can fall asleep a little easier. The good thing about Samsung's human-centric lighting solutions are that we can create a design space on the melanopic daylight equivalent illuminance versus CCT map that looks like a parallelogram. You can combine any 2 or multiple points within this parallelogram and create your desired feel of lighting while also controlling the luminaire's MDEI. We will explain a few use cases to summarize this section. You could use LM302N day products in various CCTs where you need to bring natural light's energizing effect indoors. On the bottom side of the parallelogram, we offer LM302N night in various CCTs for use in spaces where people seek relaxing moments. This could include most residential areas, but this calming light could also be used for yoga or meditation, even during daytime. By combining the 2 different types of LEDs from near opposite corners of the parallelogram in tunable luminaires, you could maximize circadian entrainment. This could be best used in healthcare settings like hospitals and nursing homes, where the patients have limited movement in and out of buildings. Our products could help solve various problems caused by lacking natural sunlight exposure. Alternatively, 2 LEDs from opposite ends of this vertical line corresponding to a specific CCT could be combined to give you a high and a low MDEI without even noticing the change as the luminaire tunes the spectrum. As of today, there are still a lot of discussions and investigations going on concerning circadian lighting. What is truly human-centric? As a member of the lighting industry, you may be trying to discover appropriate ways to implement this new aspect of lighting. So, during your journey, please remember that Samsung has the LED components ready. You can use them in prototyping anything imaginable and bring it to production while keeping the performance, lifetime, color quality, and safety features that you won't find elsewhere. Thank you.